The sleek silver ship of the Galactic Census Bureau hung in Earth's orbit, its sensors scanning the blue planet below. Inside the main observation deck, Census Officer Zelmax scratched his scaled head with a three-fingered hand. "Something is wrong with our data," he said, his large purple eyes narrowing at the holographic displays. "These readings make no sense." Analyst Trill, a small insect-like being, clicked her mandibles nervously. "What seems to be the problem, sir?" Zelnax pointed at the screen showing humans walking through a city park. "Look at them. No claws, no fangs, no natural armor. Their skin tears easily. They're slow compared to most predators. They can't even see well in the dark." He switched to another screen showing a nature documentary. "Yet somehow, they dominate their entire planet. Perhaps they're simply intelligent herbivores," suggested Trill. "No, that's what confuses me more." Zell Max pulled up footage of humans eating various meals. They consume both plants and animals. They've developed tools specifically for hunting, but they lack every physical trait we use to classify apex predators. The ship's AI chimed in with its monotone voice. "Recommended classification: non-threatening omnivores with limited defensive capabilities. Threat assessment: minimal." Zelnax frowned at the AI's suggestion. His job at the Census Bureau was to catalog every intelligent species in the Milky Way, making sure the records were accurate. Getting a classification wrong could have serious consequences. "Look at their history," he said, bringing up more images. "These humans have survived ice ages, plagues, and their own destructive tendencies. They've rebuilt after disasters that would have wiped out other species. That doesn't happen with non-threatening creatures." The images showed humans fighting wars, but also building hospitals. They killed animals for food, but also created sanctuaries to protect endangered species. They polluted their planet, then invented ways to clean it. "They're full of contradictions," said Trill, fascinated by the displays. "What should we classify them as?" Zelnax made a decision. "The standard observation protocol isn't enough. We need direct contact." Direct contact. Trill's antennae quivered with alarm. "But we haven't completed the classification. It could be dangerous." "That's exactly why we need to meet them," Zelnax replied, already entering commands into the ship's navigation system. "I've been doing this job for 200 years, and I've never seen a species that didn't fit neatly into our categories. There's something about these humans we're missing." The ship's engines hummed to life as it changed course, heading toward the United Earth Embassy in Geneva. The crew prepared for first contact procedures, checking translation devices and reviewing human cultural notes. As they descended through the clouds, Zelnax looked at the sprawling city below with its mix of green spaces and tall buildings. Humans had spotted their approach already. He could see people pointing up at the sky, some running, others standing in place recording with their devices. "They don't seem afraid," noted Trill with surprise. "No," said Zelnax. "They seem curious. Interesting reaction for a prey species." The ship landed gently on the embassy grounds where a welcome committee was hastily assembling. Zelnax straightened his official Census Bureau uniform and prepared to exit. "Remember," he told his crew, "we're just here to classify them. Simple data collection." Little did he know that this meeting would change the galaxy's understanding of what makes a predator and what makes humans unique among the stars. The grand meeting room of the United Earth Embassy buzzed with excitement. Humans and aliens sat across from each other at a long table. Light streamed through tall windows, making Zelnax's purple skin shimmer. "We are honored by your visit," said Dr. Amara Chen, head of Earth's First Contact Division. Her calm voice contrasted with the tension in the room. "This is a historic day for humanity." Zelnax nodded politely. "The Galactic Census Bureau thanks you for your welcome. We are here to complete our classification of your species." He tapped a device on his wrist, and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed basic human statistics: height, weight, lifespan, diet. "Based on our observations, We have classified humans as Class 3 omnivores with limited predatory capabilities, Zelnax announced. Dr. Chen's smile remained, but her eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting. May I ask how you reached this conclusion? Trill, the insect-like analyst, stepped forward. It's quite simple. True apex predators have specialized biological adaptations for hunting. Sharp claws, powerful jaws, venom, superior speed or strength. She gestured at the humans. Your species has none of these. A murmur ran through the human delegates. Dr. Chen leaned forward. Would you be interested in a tour of some of our facilities? It might help complete your data. Zelnax agreed, curious about the humans' calm reaction to what many species would consider an insult. Their first stop was a museum. Dr. Chen led them through exhibits showing human evolution and technology. We started with simple stone tools, she explained, pointing to crude axes. Then we created these. The display changed to show spears, bows, and finally guns and missiles. We don't have claws, Dr. Chen said, because we built these instead. She led them to a military demonstration area where a soldier operated a robotic exoskeleton, lifting a weight that would crush a tank. Next, they visited a medical lab. A surgeon demonstrated a precision laser that could cut through metal. This same technology can remove cancer cells without harming healthy tissue, the surgeon explained. We've extended our average lifespan by 40 years in just 3 centuries. Zelnax watched silently, his classification parameters crumbling in his mind. The final stop was an innovation center where scientists were developing nanobots that could rebuild damaged organs. We turn our weaknesses into research problems, Dr. Chen explained. Then we solve them. We can't regrow limbs naturally, so we build artificial ones better than the originals. That evening, back on their ship, Zelnax and his team frantically reviewed their data. No species has ever done this, Trill said, her voice shaking. They've weaponized their own thinking. Their predatory adaptation isn't physical, it's mental. Zelnax stared at a new hologram showing human brain development alongside their technological advancement. The correlation was clear and terrifying. We need to recalibrate our entire classification system, he said quietly. These humans don't hunt with claws or fangs, they hunt with ideas. What should we classify them as? Asked Trill. Zelnax looked out the viewport at Earth glowing below them. I don't know yet, but one thing is clear. We've severely underestimated them. In her office, Dr. Chen reviewed the day's events with Earth's Security Council. They've classified us as harmless, she reported. That gives us time. Time for what? A council member asked. Dr. Chen smiled. Time to show them who we really are, on our terms. They think we're not predators because we don't have claws. Let's show them what we have instead. News travels fast in space. Within days, every major species in the galaxy had heard rumors about the thinking predators of Earth. Some found it fascinating. Others were terrified. The Sarkoth were neither fascinated nor terrified. They were angry. Standing over 8 feet tall with natural armor plates and deadly venom sacs in their forearms, the Sarkoth had long been considered the galaxy's ultimate warriors. Their ships now orbited Earth alongside the Census Bureau vessel. This is Commander Dexcor of the Sarkoth Dominion, boomed a voice over the communication channel. The alien's face filled the screen in the Earth Embassy's meeting room, his yellow eyes glaring at the assembled humans. We demand verification of human capabilities. Dr. Chen maintained her diplomatic smile. We've already provided complete data to the Census Bureau. Data can be faked. Dexcor growled. We require proof through traditional means. A hunting challenge on Nexus 6. The room fell silent. Zelnax, who was present at the meeting, turned pale. Nexus 6 is a death world, he whispered to Dr. Chen. No species has completed a hunting challenge there in over 3 centuries. Dr. Chen understood the trap immediately. If humans refused, they would appear weak. If they accepted, they would likely die. The Sarkoth had found a perfect way to test their capabilities while eliminating a potential threat. "We accept your challenge," said a new voice. A man stood up from the human delegation. "I am Quan Jinwu, Special Forces Commander." Dexcor's mouth twisted into what might have been a smile. "Excellent. You may bring a team of 5. No powered weapons. No ships once on the surface. The goal is simple. Survive 3 days and kill a predator larger than yourself. We depart in 24 hours. After the communication ended, Dr. Chen turned to Jinwu. "This is exactly what they want. It's a death sentence." Jinwu nodded calmly. "Yes, but it's also an opportunity. They expect us to fight like them, with natural weapons we don't have. They don't understand what makes us dangerous." Over the next 24 hours, Jinwu assembled his team. Maya Santiago, a wilderness survival expert. Dr. Rajiv Patel, a xenobiologist. Lai Wei, a former hunter turned conservationist. And Sofia Kovalev, a military engineer. They packed cases of equipment instead of weapons. The Sarkoth observers watched with amusement as the humans loaded tools, medical supplies, and what looked like pieces of cloth. No claws, no venom, and they'd bring fabric to a death world. One Sarkoth warrior laughed. "This will be over quickly." The night before departure, Zelnax visited the human team's preparation room. He looked worried. "I should warn you," he said quietly. "I've heard rumors that no previous challengers have survived Nexus 6. Not even the Sarkoth send their people there willingly." Jinwu nodded, continuing to pack a small device. "Thank you for your concern. But tell me, census officer, why do you think Earth has no apex predators left in the wild?" Zelnax blinked in confusion. "I assumed your environment was less competitive." Jinwu smiled. "No, we hunted them all to extinction, before we even developed advanced technology." He closed his case with a click. "Now we're the only apex predators left on our planet. The Sarkoth might want to remember that." As Zelnax left, he felt a chill run down his spine. The transport ship dropped through Nexus 6's poisonous red clouds. Inside, Jinwu's team made final adjustments to their equipment while the Sarkoth warriors watched with arms crossed. "Remember," said Dexcor, "once we land, you have 3 days. No help from the ship. No advanced weapons." "We understand the rules," Jinwu replied calmly. The ship landed in a clearing surrounded by twisted, spike-covered trees. As the door opened, hot, toxic air rushed in. The gravity was almost twice Earth's normal pull. The Sarkoth stepped out easily, their natural armor protecting them from the atmosphere. They expected the humans to struggle or die immediately. Instead, Jinwu's team emerged wearing what looked like thin bodysuits with clear helmets. The suits hummed quietly as they moved, countering the planet's crushing gravity. "What are those?" demanded Dexcor. No powered equipment was allowed. Dr. Paddle smiled behind his helmet. "These aren't powered weapons. They're exoskeletons, simple machines that multiply our natural strength. Like how your people have natural armor, we build ours." The Sarkoth couldn't argue against their own rules. The humans had found a loophole. Without wasting time, the human team moved into the forest. They quickly established a base camp near a rocky outcrop, while Santiago set up tripwires around the perimeter. Lai Wei studied animal tracks in the red soil. 3 major predator species within a mile radius, Wei reported. 1 avian, 1 reptilian, and something that moves on 6 legs. Jinwu nodded. "Good." Kovalev set up the sound emitters on the western approach. Dr. Patel analyzed those plant samples. The Sarkoth observers watched in confusion as the humans focused on gathering information instead of hunting. "Why are they setting traps?" one warrior asked. "The challenge is to kill a predator, not wait for it." Dexcor frowned. "They're afraid to face anything directly. Typical behavior for prey animals." By nightfall, the humans had secured their perimeter with an intricate system of traps and alarms. They'd created barriers using the natural environment and set up shifts for keeping watch. One Sarkoff couldn't contain his curiosity anymore. Why all these indirect methods? He asked Jinwoo. Why not just hunt like true predators? Jinwoo looked up from where he was fashioning a spear from local materials. Why waste energy fighting when you can outsmart your prey? A lion chases a gazelle and might catch it after spending massive energy. A human sets a snare and catches the gazelle while sleeping comfortably. The Sarkoff retreated to their own shelters, built with technology they claimed was impenetrable to the planet's dangers. They laughed at the humans' primitive camp. But that night, as darkness fell completely on Nexus 6, something changed. Deep in the planet's core, ancient sensors detected unusual activity on the surface. A massive creature, dormant for centuries, opened 6 glowing eyes. It had evolved on this death world for millions of years, becoming the ultimate killing machine. It had no natural predators. It feared nothing. Until now, it had never encountered humans. As the creature began to move toward the surface, drawn by the unfamiliar energy signatures, Jinwoo checked his equipment one last time and smiled at his team. "Get some rest," he said. "Tomorrow is when the real hunt begins." Morning on Nexus 6 brought no real light, just a dull red glow through the poisonous clouds. The ground trembled slightly. At first, the Sarkoff thought it was just the planet's normal seismic activity. Jinwoo knew better. "Something big is coming," he said, checking the readings on a small device. "Much bigger than we expected." Santiago pointed to the trees. "Look, the native wildlife, all dangerous predators themselves, were fleeing in the opposite direction." "What could make predators run like prey?" asked one of the Sarkoff observers, trying to hide his concern. Dr. Paddle studied his scanner. "The Nexus worm. I thought it was just a legend." Even the Sarkoff looked afraid now. The Nexus worm was known throughout the galaxy, a creature so perfectly evolved for killing that no species had ever defeated one. "We should return to the ship," Dexcor declared. "This challenge is suspended." "No," Jinwoo said firmly. "The rules were clear. 3 days, 1 kill larger than ourselves. That worm certainly qualifies." His team nodded in agreement. The Sarkoff stared in disbelief. "You plan to hunt that thing? It's suicide." Jinwoo smiled. "We're not going to hunt it like you would." He turned to his team. "Initiate Protocol Prometheus." The humans moved with practiced precision. Kovalev and Santiago took small devices and headed in opposite directions. Wei and Paddle began mixing chemicals from plants they had collected. Jinwoo programmed the drones they had disguised as scientific equipment. "What are they doing?" one Sarkoff asked another. "Wasting their final hours," Dexcor replied. But he didn't sound convinced. The ground shook harder. Trees fell as something massive moved through the forest. The Sarkoff retreated to high ground to observe what they expected would be a quick end to the human team. Instead, they witnessed something extraordinary. The humans separated, each taking a position around a large clearing. When the worm appeared, 100 feet of armored scales, multiple limbs, and acid-dripping fangs, Jinwoo's team sprung their trap. The drones activated, emitting sounds and lights that confused the creature's senses. Santiago detonated charges that caused a controlled landslide, blocking the worm's retreat. Kovalev activated devices that released chemicals into the air, chemicals that Dr. Patel had discovered would irritate the creature's breathing organs. The humans weren't attacking the worm directly. They were hurting it, using its own size and power against it. "They're making it angry," observed Sarkoff. "That's the opposite of what hunters should do." The worm charged at Wei, who stood his ground until the last second before diving aside. The creature crashed into the rock wall behind him, stunning itself momentarily. That's when Jinwoo struck. He leaped from a high rock, landing on the worm's head with a device in hand. The creature thrashed, throwing him off and injuring him badly. But Jinwoo was smiling as he hit the ground. The device he had planted injected a compound directly into the worm's brain, a toxin the team had synthesized from the planet's own plants. The massive creature convulsed once, twice, then collapsed dead. Blood streaming from a wound on his forehead, Jin Wu looked up at the stunned Sarkov. One predator, larger than ourselves. Challenge completed. Zelnax, who had been quietly observing, wrote in his data pad, "Humans hunt not from biological necessity, but from intellectual curiosity, perhaps the most dangerous motivation of all." News of the humans' victory over the Nexus worm spread across the galaxy faster than light. Video recordings from the Sarkoth observers played on viewing screens in 1,000 worlds. Some species watched in awe, others watched in terror. In the Great Dome of the Galactic Council, representatives from 200 species gathered for an emergency session. The central platform held Zelnax, who was presenting his findings. "The humans succeeded where all others have failed," he explained, showing holographic images of Jin Wu's team taking down the worm. Not through superior strength or natural weapons, but through cooperation and tool use at an unprecedented level. A tall bird-like alien stood up. "Then they must be contained immediately. A thinking predator is too dangerous to allow free movement through the galaxy." Many council members shouted their agreement. The word containment echoed through the chamber. Dr. Chen, who had been invited to attend as Earth's representative, listened quietly from a side platform. When the council leader finally acknowledged her, she walked calmly to the center of the dome. "You fear us because you don't understand us," she said. Her voice was soft, but carried to every corner of the room. "Yes, we can be predators. Our history has dark chapters of violence and conquest." She pressed a button on her wrist device, and new images appeared. Humans building hospitals, rescuing endangered species, reaching out to help each other after disasters. "But we also have this. We evolved not just to kill, but to understand, to empathize, even with species not our own." The council members murmured among themselves. This was not typical predator behavior. "Predators don't heal their prey," argued a Sarkoth representative. "They don't show mercy or build art or sacrifice themselves for others. These behaviors make no evolutionary sense." "That's exactly my point," Dr. Chen replied. "We don't fit your categories because we transcended them. We became dangerous enough to dominate our world, then learned the wisdom to preserve it instead." The debate continued for hours. Some species proposed immediate alliance with humans, seeing potential benefits. Others insisted on quarantine or even preventive military action. Meanwhile, in a secured communication room, Zelnax received an urgent message. His purple face darkened as he read it. "The Sarkoth are mobilizing their fleet," he informed Dr. Chen privately. "They're not waiting for the Council's decision. They see humans as the only real threat to their military dominance." Dr. Chen wasn't surprised. "How much time do we have?" "They're maintaining official denials, but our intelligence suggests they're preparing for direct action against Earth within weeks." Dr. Chen nodded, then activated her own secure channel to Earth. "Admiral Torres, implement Protocol Ouroboros. The Sarkov have made their decision." Back in the council chamber, debate raged on about humanity's proper classification and the potential danger they posed. None of them realized that the real danger wasn't what humans might do if threatened. It was what they had already done in preparation for that possibility. As Dr. Chen returned to the chamber, her face revealed nothing of Earth's plans. After all, a true apex predator never shows its hand too early. The attack came not at Earth, but at the new human colony of New Ankara. 3 different alien species, the insect-like Frey, the amphibious Morchik, and the silicon-based Greel, launched simultaneous attacks. None had previous issues with humans. All had deep ties to the Sarkov. Admiral Hassan Torres, commander of Earth's defense fleet, received the emergency signals from the colony. "They're hitting us from all sides," reported Governor Cheng of New Ankara. "Civilians are taking shelter in the underground facilities. We need military support immediately." Torres studied the tactical displays. The attackers had superior numbers and position. A direct defense would cost many lives. "Governor, I'm sending civilian engineers instead of warships," Torres replied. "Engineers? We need soldiers," Cheng shouted, ducking as an explosion shook his bunker. "Trust me," Torres said calmly. "This isn't a normal attack." Across the galaxy, observers watched in confusion as Earth's military ships pulled back from New Ankara. The Sarkov leaders celebrated. "See how they abandon their own kind when threatened." Dexcor told his commanders, "These humans are cowards after all." But something strange was happening. On dozens of worlds, human diplomatic ships arrived unannounced, carrying evidence packages. These packages contained proof of Sarkov manipulation, secret payments, blackmail, and false intelligence used to push the three attacking species into war. "You're being used as disposable weapons," human diplomats told the leaders of the Vray, Morchik, and Greel homeworlds. The Sarkov want to test human military response without risking their own people. Meanwhile, on New Ankara, the civilian engineers Torres had sent were not hiding in bunkers. They were working. Mining equipment was quickly converted to defense systems. Water purification chemicals became smoke screens. Communication arrays were repurposed to jam enemy targeting systems. Most surprising of all, human representatives walked out under white flags to speak directly with enemy ground troops. "Your leaders didn't tell you who arranged this war," said Sofia Kovalev, now serving as chief engineer on New Ankara. She showed captured Sarkov communication logs to the Vray commander. "You're not fighting for your species. You're fighting for them." Within 3 days, something unprecedented happened. The attackers stopped fighting, not because they were defeated, but because they refused to continue. When Sarkov commanders arrived to assess what they expected to be their victory, they found former enemies sitting together in peace talks. "What is happening here?" demanded the Sarkov general. Governor Cheng smiled. "Trade agreements, cultural exchange programs, and mutual defense pacts against outside manipulation." The Sarkov commander's face darkened with rage. "You turned our weapons against us." "No," Kovalev corrected. "We showed them they weren't weapons at all. That's the difference between how you see other species and how we see them." Back on her command ship, Admiral Torres received the report of the Sarkov's failed proxy war. She forwarded it to Earth Command with a single note: "Protocol Ouroboros proceeding as planned. The enemy continues to underestimate what makes humans dangerous. It's not our weapons. It's our ability to make peace more profitable than war." Zelnak sat in his private chamber aboard the Census Bureau's main ship, surrounded by floating screens filled with data about humans. After weeks of study, he was more confused than ever. "Computer, display all possible classification categories again," he said, rubbing his tired eyes. The AI's voice responded as new charts appeared. Humans show characteristics of multiple categories: apex predator strategic thinking, herbivore social cohesion, carnivore territorial defense, symbiotic medical development. Zelnak sighed. No species should be this contradictory. His assistant Trill entered, carrying more data pads. "The latest reports from human colonies," she said. "They're teaching the Vray how to farm earth crops that grow in low-light conditions. The Vray are calling it a miracle." "The same Vray who attacked them last week?" Zelnak asked. "Yes, and they're helping the Morchik develop water filtration systems for their polluted oceans. The Greel have invited human musicians to study their crystal song chambers." Zelnak stared at the new information. "They turn enemies into allies faster than any species I've ever documented. It's not natural." "Perhaps," Trill suggested carefully, "we need an unnatural category." Meanwhile, in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, tensions were reaching a breaking point. The Sarkov delegation was openly calling for military action against Earth. "Their interfering diplomats are destabilizing established power structures," shouted the Sarkov ambassador. "They must be contained before they spread further." Other species were divided. Some feared humans. Others were intrigued by the benefits of alliance with them. The Council had never faced such a difficult classification problem. Far away from this political storm, in a secure room deep within Census Bureau headquarters, Zelnax made a radical decision. "We've tried to fit humans into our existing categories for too long," he told his small team. "It's not working because they don't belong in any of them." "What are you suggesting?" asked his superior, Director Vox. "A new classification category altogether, one that acknowledges their unique evolutionary path." Director Vox looked horrified. "The classification system has stood for 10,000 years. You can't just add a new category." "I can if the alternative is misclassifying a species that could change the entire galaxy," Zelnax replied firmly. As the Bureau argued internally, the Sarkoth lost patience. Their massive fleet began moving toward Earth, ignoring Council warnings and diplomatic protocols. "They will regret humiliating us," Dexcor told his War Council. "We'll show the galaxy what happens to species that challenge the Dominion." What the Sarkoth didn't know was that their movements were being tracked by thousands of tiny probes humans had placed throughout key systems during peaceful trade missions. Dr. Chen received the alert in her office on Earth. "The Sarkoth fleet has launched," she informed Admiral Torres via secure channel. "They'll reach our space in 3 days." "Are our preparations complete?" Torres asked. "Yes. But I just received a strange message from Zelnax. The Census Bureau is planning something unprecedented." Zelnax had made his decision. Instead of publishing a simple classification for humans, he ordered the release of all raw data on human behavior, capabilities, and history to every species simultaneously. No filters, no categories, just information. "Let them see humans as they truly are," he said, "not as we try to label them." The massive Sarkoth fleet arrived at Earth expecting to find panic and a hastily assembled defense. Instead, they found nothing unusual. Cities continued to function. Satellites maintained their orbits. There were no warships waiting to meet them. Dexcor, leading the invasion from his command vessel, was suspicious. "This must be a trap," he told his officers. "Scan for hidden weapons platforms." The scans showed nothing threatening. After hours of watching Earth continue its normal activities, Dexcor received a simple message. "We've been expecting you. Let's talk." Coordinates attached. "It's definitely a trap," his second-in-command warned. "Of course it is," Dexcor agreed. "But refusing would make us look afraid. We'll take a small force and be ready for anything." The coordinates led to a wide, grassy plain in Africa, the Serengeti. When Dexcor's shuttle landed, he was stunned to see not an ambush, but a gathering of representatives from 47 different galactic species. Dr. Chen and Admiral Torres stood at the center, with Zelnax beside them. Large screens floated above the gathering, visible to the ships in orbit and broadcasting to worlds across the galaxy. "Welcome to Earth," Dr. Chen greeted Dexcor. "You've arrived just in time for our formal classification ceremony." Dexcor looked around warily. "What trick is this? Where are your weapons?" Admiral Torres smiled. "If we wanted to fight, you wouldn't have made it to our orbit. Your ship's navigation systems have been running on our protocols since you entered the solar system." Zelnax stepped forward before Dexcor could respond. "The Galactic Census Bureau has reached a decision regarding the classification of humans," he announced, his voice carried to all attending species and beyond. The screens displayed a new classification symbol, one that had never existed before. Humans will be classified as adaptive apex intelligence, the only known species whose predatory evolution targeted thought itself, Zelnax declared. "They didn't evolve to be the strongest. They evolved to become whatever they needed to be." The screens showed examples of human innovation, technologies that mimicked the best adaptations of 22 different galactic species, medicines developed from studying alien biology, construction techniques learned from non-Earth creatures. "In 3 months since contact," Zelnax continued, Humans have incorporated beneficial adaptations from across the galaxy into their technology, all without compromising those species' autonomy or survival. DexCore looked at images of Sarkoff medical techniques being used in human hospitals to save lives. You copied us? That's what made you so dangerous. Not copied, Dr. Chen corrected. Learned from. There's a difference. We could have weaponized this knowledge. Instead, we chose to use it for advancement through cooperation. Slowly, understanding dawned on DexCore's face. In the Sarkoff mind, victory meant domination, but humans had found a different path. Your classification is incorrect, DexCore said finally. You're not predators at all. That's where you're wrong, Admiral Torres replied. We're the most dangerous predators of all. We're the ones who decided not to be predators anymore, because we found a better way to survive. For the first time in galactic history, a Sarkoff commander extended an offer of alliance rather than demanding submission. In his final report, Zelnax added a note to humanity's file. Classification: Apex Predator. Primary evolutionary advantage: the capacity to recognize when not to be.